Three little kittens. They lost their mittens. They began to cry. Oh, mother dear, we sadly fear mittens we have lost. What? Lost your mittens. It's crazy. You naughty kittens. Then you shall have no pie. Meow. 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 Mugu Gai chicken. Kung Pao tofu. Mongolian beef with snow peas. Janice or Flamansky. Say it with me. Janice or Flamansky. Welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show, and someone at some point must teach me how to self-promote. The first thing I would like to do is apologize for the next potential couple hours of how many verbal errors, miscues, and other possible dropping of thoughts, as now is certainly example number one. I'm on about 3 hours sleep. I want to thank the folks from Lexington, Kentucky for one hell of a weekend there. I did some shows. People came out. It was fun. Great doing stand-up live, as always, to promote the stand-up special there. But I had to get up at, well, I greeted the paperboy. I helped him drop off the last few rounds. And then flew back, and it's been nonstop. So I think I'm here. That little clip you saw there was not included in Showtime's airing of my stand-up special. To Showtime, I simply want to say thank you very much, and I really appreciate all the airtime that you gave me, because it really was fun. I look forward to working together again in the not-too-near future, I assume. The DVD, however, drops September 7th. There I said it, drops. That's what we've become. And by we, I mean the royal me. I have a handful of free copies to give away. I mentioned this on the Twitter, that I want to give away some free copies, and randomly choosing some winners from the first 100 that retweet. We had a whole bunch of retweets, and I picked the first 2 winners. I figured this out finally after trying to give away free tickets to shows. I have to then DM these. I have to follow them and then DM them. You've won. Send me back your address. I finally figured out that code. You would think monkeys could have helped me on that, but in this case, they weren't available. Ryan Congdon, because that's a name, at Congdor as the first winner, and then Jay Williams at SWF or SW Florida Art. Congratulations to both of you, and good luck collecting on the DVD. I do want to mention that there are several more free copies available, so they will also be randomly chosen from the continuing RTs should you want to participate in this particular free giveaway. Yeah, we're very excited. It's going to be on the iTunes, the Amazon. There's so many ways really to get a DVD these days. One of them is I will bring it to your home. You're not buffering. It's just me being a dick. I want to thank JJ Mays and Corey Levin, who helped out on the crew last week in the absence of our director, co-executive producer, Mike Rotman, who was out investing his rot bucks and was not available for the show. And then our very own J-Mac, Jason McIntyre, was out of town in his hometown of Pittsburgh, so Corey Levin filled in there as well. I want to thank them, which I didn't actually do last week, so I thought I'd take a moment here. Over a year ago, on this very program, I spoke of possibly building an internet network, even going so far as to suggest we call it Intervision. While that may have been the silly musings of a host who was overly excited about what was happening with his own recently christened interweb show, 4 months ago, a new internet network was quietly launched. It's called thisweekend.com, and it has expanded to 16 shows in said scant 4 months. You may be watching us now live on thisweekend.com's homepage, or perhaps not so live in archives for those of you watching thereafter. We're very proud to be a part of this upstart internet network. It specializes in hosted live shows on a great many topics: This Week in Startups, This Week in Social Media, This Week in Music, to name but a few. One of our newer shows, This Week in Mad Men. I'm drawing particularly attention to this show because while it has 4 co-hosts, 2 of which are our very own Jamie Foxx, a.k.a. Hollywood Fat Cat, and Jason McIntyre, J-Mac.
So the secrets of Hollywood Fat Cats don't want you to know?
If you're a fan of AMC's hit drama Mad Men, the Emmy winner for Best Drama, the 2 years in a row now, perhaps the odds-on favorite for a 3rd year, then you may in fact enjoy watching This Week in Mad Men, Monday evenings, 7:15 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. 7:15-ish, yeah. At thisweekend.com. All the first 4 episodes are there in archives, or if you prefer, join the hundreds of thousands who've already downloaded episodes on iTunes, where This Week in Mad Men is listed on podcast front page with the prestigious listing of new and noteworthy. We're just a little too proud here. Jamie, any teasers you care to offer up about tomorrow night's 5th installment of This Week in Mad Men?
Maybe somebody visited the set of Mad Men this past week and is going to talk about that.
You were actually on the set while they were shooting.
Yes.
What the hell are you?
An episode that John Slattery directed.
He directed the last one, and if anyone's caught up, episode 4, the title of which escapes me, but he directed that, and that was the first time he ever directed anything, and it was
great.
Stunning.
We talked about that last week.
You talked about that last week, and then you'll talk about your visit to the set. Mm-hmm. And did you see our previous guest, John Hamm, there as well?
Maybe I got a firm handshake.
Not a two-hander.
A two-handed firm handshake.
Did you?
Yes, I did. He's very handsome.
It's really a shame that he's so difficult to look at. Well, we look forward to that Monday night, 7:15-ish. We have now the next portion we love. Oh, Sammy, geez, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You were kind enough to not interrupt, and every now and then I can't believe how polite you can be, and then I forget you're there.
I'm very tired.
So I learned my lesson the hard way. Surely something has gone on in the week since we saw you last.
Unbelievably, a little thing did. I got to hang out with our friend of the show, Doug Benson.
Ah, yes.
And do his podcast at UCB, Doug Loves Movies, with Leonard Maltin.
The Leonard Maltin.
The Leonard Maltin, who you and I have been working tirelessly on getting him on this show.
We have a couple of Sundays open in October.
Yeah, we're locking it down.
We're
on it.
We're getting ahead again. We're now booked into the middle of November with only 2 Sundays open between here and there. So you had a great time?
I did, and people can download that. It's a podcast on the iTunes. Doug Loves Movies is the name of the
He's getting
show.
great coverage on the podcast on the
really
iTunes.
Does. Yeah, he gets some good downloads there. And also, if I may shamelessly self-promote,
Please.
ever so briefly, into the Samcam here.
Yeah. That's called the Sam Cam now, is it?
Wasn't it always?
Yes.
From my angle, it's cleavage cam, but you go ahead and call it whatever you want.
We're trying to keep
It's
this a
the
family
best.
program. Family program.
Baby, I am madly in love with that particular area. Forgive me for pointing out the obvious. You were saying, Sam Cam.
A movie called Made for Each Other comes out on DVD August the 21st. It's got your Danny and Chris Masterson, your Patrick Warburton, your George Siegel.
Siegel.
Very funny people. Very funny movie. Pick it up on DVD. Do yourself a favor.
Don't you, Jamie, enjoy George Siegel in a supporting role?
I do enjoy George Siegel.
Then
He
you're
plays the
gonna love
banjo.
this. Then you're gonna love. He
plays
does
the
play the
banjo.
banjo. Yeah, you're gonna love this.
I love him.
And then
Speaking of George Siegel, weren't you supposed to deliver him to the chat show?
he is busy.
It's not.
He is busy. He does. He genuinely is super busy. He's got a TV land show.
Wow.
But here's good news. You're going to enjoy hearing. You don't even know this. Ready?
Go.
Drones
Yes.
on DVD in February.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's very exciting.
Yes. Now everyone, thank you very much.
One of my favorite years of 2010. Favorite movies of 2010. There's number 2 example.
There it
3
is.
hours sleep, people. Stay with me.
Available for anyone to purchase anywhere. Will be on the Amazon and other great.
Pre-order
things.
now,
And-
perhaps.
Drones is
Perhaps,
very
why?
good, and I hate everything.
Yeah, it's true. And you
do.
said that on the Sam Cam, so we know it's true. All right. We have worked our way through the topics. We're going to go right to Ask Kevin now. I wish there was a graphic.
Nope.
Nope.
Here.
Nope.
Do you want
If
me
wishes
to do
were
it?
fishes.
Way too much to ask.
Here, I'll do it. Do you want me to do the graphic?
Show 61, and we're not ready.
Ask Kevin.
Did I jump ahead? Was I supposed to do? Yeah, my fault. No. No? Oh, okay. Dr. Chen says we're fine. Ask Kevin is simply something that you write into contacts@kevinpollakchatshow.com, and I will try to answer your questions. This first one comes from somebody. Anybody? Do we know? Jeff. Jeff in OC. Approaching Celebrities, it's called. Having been on numerous trips to Disneyland and Walt Disney World, I've seen a handful of celebrities. This January, I happened to spot one Kevin Pollak at the California Adventure with Jason Antoon, I think, right in front of me, in line, at the noodle counter. I wanted to say hello, but decided against it, thinking, come on, give the guy a break, leave him alone, he's just trying to order some Chinese food and enjoy some time in the park. That said, what's the rule on approaching a celebrity whose work you actually know and appreciate when they're at some place like a theme park, the grocery store, etc.? Leave them in peace to enjoy themselves like we all take for granted, or let them know how amazing we thought they were in fill in the blank, which he does. And a follow-up PS, you were great in Middlemen. I'm glad someone got to see it. So what to do? You know, I'm in the same conundrum. I'm just like you. I'm a fan of a lot of famous faces, and when I see one, I don't know how to approach them either. Well, I have a slight advantage in that I can just circle them 3 or 4 times and see if they recognize me first. That's a little game I like to play. But for you, Jeff, I think anytime you just lean forward respectfully and say, hey, just wanted to say love your work or whatever, and don't want to bug you. I don't know that there's anyone that would be upset about that or find it anything but appreciated. And so I would say proceed that way, and then if you do find someone, you can officially announce to all of your friends that that person is a prick. And let us know how this works out for you. Any feedback at all and follow-up. Just keep an eye out for Danny Glover. From Mike Gaines, totally made that up. He writes, Dear Chat Show, you recently mentioned The Lost Room, which I thought was a great science fiction miniseries with great potential for future installments. I'm curious what Kevin's opinion of the show was, and is there any talk of doing additional episodes? Mike Gaines, Portland, Oregon. Thank you, Mike. The Lost Room for the Sci-Fi Network.
These are all Jason Antoon questions.
I know, there's a theme here. It's all about the Lebanese today. So there was talk when we did the miniseries, if it all went well, that maybe there would be episodes, and then it went really well, and there were still no episodes. So I don't know what to tell you, other than if you like that genre, it wasn't a bad little miniseries, right? Because a lot of stuff on the Sci-Fi Network really sucks. And every now and then they'll squirt out something kind of cool. And I was actually pretty happy to be a part of that particular outing.
May I say that sci-fi is dead to me?
Is Sci-Fi dead to you? Have you officially written them off?
Because of the Twilight Zone mission.
Because of the Twilight Zone marathon. They replaced my Twilight Zone marathon with the Greatest American Hero marathon. They're dead to me.
You know, of all the shows to shove down people's throat over a holiday weekend, you would have thought they'd reach a little higher than Great American Hero?
No. They want kitsch, you know? They don't want good writing. God forbid we have a show that's been holding up for 60 years.
Well, I appreciate you sharing.
When is someone going to do the Cop Rock marathon?
And now on to other
classics.
Traveling to cities for work by Unlock67. We know by your tweets on a recent visit to Pittsburgh, you went to Kennywood and its famous wooden roller coaster. With all the cities you visit for work and play, what is your favorite activity you find yourself doing if you have the free time? A visit to an interesting restaurant, find a local poker game, or simply sit in your hotel room and drink. Thanks, Unlock. Yes, Kennywood's fantastic. The Jackrabbit, the 89-year-old wooden roller coaster, is a great way to risk your life if you're anywhere near there. And the Potato Patch fries are to die for.
My neck has not been the same since.
Jamie's neck has not been the same, literally. There's a lot of that going on. What do I do? You know, it's a very strange schedule if you really want to know. You fly in Thursday night, it's up early morning, Friday press, and then Friday, the rest of the day, you kind of try to catch up on sleep, and then you get up and do a couple of shows, and Saturday you waste half a day as well. In this case, I'm now working on the or otherwise known as preparation for this show all day Saturday. So I was just in Lexington, Kentucky, and I saw the airport, which was more of a driveway for runways. It was really fun to land. And then the hotel and the drive between, and then a walk to the club. So, not a lot. But every now and then I'll be in a city where someone puts their fist down and insists that I go see something, and then it seems like a chore, and yet I end up enjoying myself. I spoke ad nauseum about a trip to Newfoundland, where I went on a tour of the great distillery there for the Crystal Head vodka. Crystal Head, Crystal Skull?
Crystal Skull.
Head.
Crystal Head. Skull is the Indiana Jones movie.
That's right. So there you go. Ask Kevin. Lock it up. Done. Next week, let's take 14 minutes to do just that. I'm sure there's something else. Oh, sure. Oh, my God. This is the longest opening ever. What an embarrassment.
I think our guest left.
Hey, everybody. We have a couple of sponsors on the show, and I'm damn proud that they've decided to invest so that the crew can have dinner after the show. So first thanks goes out to Mosey.com. With Mosey, you can ensure your digital life will always be there when you need it. Online backup service with more than 1 million customers backing up more than 25 petabytes of information. Back up your critical data. Protect your personal files. 2 offerings, one for home use, stuff like your photos, your videos, your musics. And then for your businesses, that of course includes administrative features and 24-hour customer support. I wish I actually had support in certain areas 24 hours. I set it up once and then never think about it again. Unlimited online backup plans start at only $4.95 a month. That's $495 a month. Seems like a lot, but no, it's $4.95. If you enter promo code Kevin at checkout, you'll receive a 15% off your initial purchase. Fantastic. I should mention we tweeted about a Mosey contest. If somebody wants to win, what was it? Anybody remember what they were actually winning? Something fantastic. 1 year, 100 gigabyte account on Mosey. Otherwise known as a $60 value. How about that? And that is going to @Sandpapery for the hashtag of KPCS Mosey. Congratulations, another fabulous winner. Our other sponsor, of course, is the fine folks at Piclick.com. Piclick is a visual search engine that helps you shop more effectively. Browse through photos from your favorite sites to find exactly what you want fast. up to 12 times. I have no idea who I'm doing. Faster for browsing than just using the actual sites. There was a little bit of Cronkite.
A little bit of Aykroyd.
And a little bit of Aykroyd, and then a lot of shit.
And
just crap.
It was drunk. It was the problem. It was Cronkite when he went in the air drunk that time.
When Cronkite and Aykroyd got drunk, this was the guy that came out. Browsing 12 times faster for browsing, they call it the rock, than just using the actual sites themselves. Featured sites include eBay, Amazon, Etsy, Plenty of Fish, Yelp, allrecipes.com, and of course Google. Categories make it easy to zero in on just the content you want. Hey, scroll bars, we got them. It allows you to make the images as big or small as you like. That's piclick.com, everybody. Piclick.com, or Piclick, for those of you on the other side of the Mississippi. If you thought that was long, and folks, it clocked in at 20 minutes and 58 fucking seconds. Holy shit, that's a record. Somebody get the Guinness peeps on the phone. Oh my God, I need a beer. Get those Guinness people on the phone too. I'm so very often asked, hey, what's your name? How do you become an actor? Well, as much as I want to say what I'm thinking, instead I'll just say, no shortcuts, I'm afraid. I offer this cryptic answer as a way to avoid a much longer conversation, really, but also because it's painfully true. If Yoda, in fact, taught a class on how to succeed in show business, he would start by saying, patience you must have. In 99 out of 100 cases, pay your dues doesn't even begin to cover the misery awaiting you. The longer answer is that firstly, you must learn to embrace the cold, dead fish in the face that is rejection. No matter how successful you become as an actor, chances are you've been rejected 100 times more than hired. No shortcuts, I'm afraid. Here's the good news. And you must learn this, too, if you are to survive the torrent of rejection that's coming your way. 98% of the time that you didn't get the role you auditioned for, it actually had absolutely nothing to do with your preparation or performance in the room that day. Having been on the other side of the audition scenario, I can promise you that almost every time you walk into the room to audition, the director, or whomever it is that you're reading for, already knows what he or she wants for the part, and before you even open your mouth to speak, you're either it or you aren't. If you're lucky, you'll get a chance to show what you can do on the big screen or the small screen, hell, maybe even the glorious 3D on the ridiculous IMAX. If you're exceptionally talented and lucky, you'll get a chance to shine on one of those screens, and maybe one of the gatekeepers who looks for new faces with the right stuff will take notice and invite you to audition for something bigger and better. By the time this happens, least we forget, you've been paying dues for a number of years, working in the shadows of small parts. If you're fortunate enough to survive the endless rejections, year after year you do your damnedest in these seemingly meaningless smaller parts, but they're not meaningless, are they? No shortcuts, I'm afraid. Roman dramatist and philosopher named Seneca once said, luck occurs when preparation meets opportunity. It can therefore be deduced that should said luck come your way, well then you've earned it. You've earned this amazing opportunity with your ability forged from hundreds of auditions and far too many unimpressive smaller roles. Example, please, you ask? All right, stop yelling. I've got a perfect one. If you've seen the hilarious film Step Brothers, and you know my guest today, if you're a fan of that film, then it's possible that you discovered my guest in it. Perhaps like me, you thought, who the fuck is this guy? He's a complete dick in this movie, and holy fuck, is he funny. If you haven't seen Step Brothers, and there's even a remote chance you'll ever ask me how to become an actor, and the type of actor who can show up in a huge studio comedy starring the likes of Will Ferrell and steal practically every scene you're in with him, then stop watching this right now. Go get yourself a copy and watch it. Watch it and see how it's done. See what it truly looks like when preparation meets opportunity. Derek is the name of the complete dick in Step Brothers. He was expertly brought to you by my guest today. Please welcome Adam Scott.
Wow.
That was like a Sunday fucking sermon. Sorry, dude.
That is beyond, besides lengthy, it was beyond flattering.
Well,
good Lord, thank you very much.
I was on a 4-hour flight from Chicago, and I spent the entire 4 hours writing that.
That's wonderful. It's really, really sweet. Thank you.
I meant it because when I started to write the introduction, the larger picture started to unfold in front of me.
Right.
Which is something that I know you're asked. Any recognizable actor is asked this by, if dare I offend anyone, pedestrians, non-professionals.
Shitheads.
Shitheads is what. Yeah. That is the magic word, the secret word. And what do we have? No. Yeah, and oh boy, there's just no short answer, and you don't want to spend spend the time. And so every now and then I'll see an actor, such as yourself, and I'll momentarily forget that, oh, of course this guy's been around forever.
Right.
Paying dues for years.
Right.
And it only is until I'm presented with their dossier in preparation of the show that I get to really have a look at it.
That you see it goes back to like 93 or...
Yeah. In fact, I am from the Bay Area, born in San Francisco, but raised in San Jose. And if I may tell you how many times I drove over the hill to your birthplace, Santa Cruz.
Well, you guys are valleys. That's what we would call you.
Is that right? Did you loathe the bastards from San Jose growing up?
Well, I worked at the boardwalk. So you
Holy shit, you hated us.
Yeah, they would flood the boardwalk and flood our town and ruin everything, while at the same time completely supporting our town economically. So why the fuck were we complaining? I don't know.
What did you do at the boardwalk there?
I made taffy at the Marini's candy store. I made taffy. Do you remember the taffy machine?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. I made taffy from scratch as a 13. I worked there from the time I was 12 to 15 years old. You would go down to the bottom, the basement, get a 50-pound bag of sugar, a vat of corn syrup, and some flavoring, and that's what taffy is. And so I would do that.
I'm going to need to know how many people helped the 12-year-old carry the 50-pound bag of sugar.
No one. That was my job. I know.
That's how you built your original bulk.
Yeah. That's how. Listen.
I've heard you refer to yourself as a not-so-slim child, but I now sense it was all muscle based on the 50-pound bag of sugar.
That's right. Oh, boy.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I would actually go down to the basement and just hang out down there for a good hour because it was like, I was supposed to be getting sugar, but you could take a break down there and no one would know.
Yeah. So, I remember potentially being stoned and sitting in front of that giant taffy turning thing for hours.
Absolutely.
And not
I remember potentially being stoned and working that taffy machine many times.
And so growing up in an actual beach town.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I have all these visions from the movies and television, and some of them were Lost Boys oriented, which they shot there or
in
near
Santa
there?
Cruz. Yeah,
in
actually,
Santa Cruz,
my neighbor Joe Ferrara owns Atlantis Fantasy World, which was the comic book store they shot in for Lost Boys. So I was 11 or 12. I got to go down and meet Joel Schumacher and the Coreys, and it was a pretty big deal because it was the summer Stand By Me came out. So Corey Feldman, to me, was the shit because he was credible in that movie, and that movie was, when you're 12 years old and Stand By Me comes out, that is speaking directly to you.
They made the movie for you and your friends.
Yeah. So anyway, very vivid memories of Lost Boys, and
were you hanging around when they were shooting?
I did. I actually hung out outside of the Corey's trailer just to get a glance of them, and I got a nod from Haim.
Did you?
I did.
Did you have to call out his name, or he just saw you?
No, he saw me and he gave me a nod and leapt up into his trailer, and I was just like, "What the fuck is going on in there?"
Yeah.
Like, what did they have a little house they live in while they're making a movie? That's insane. Yeah, it was really.
And if only you knew, it was a 12-year-old.
Yeah. And a pile of cocaine.
What was most likely going on in any actor's trailer?
He passed away. We should not be speaking that way about
it. Actually, this is the time.
Did they now?
Yeah.
It's been long enough? We can do that? Okay.
Yeah.
No, we can use it as a learning piece.
Yes.
Right?
What not to do. 12-year-old Justin Bieber, I'm talking to you.
Right.
Don't do what Donnie Don't does.
Nice.
They could have been a little more clear about this.
So there you were, impressed like crazy.
Yes.
And were you actually thinking at that point of maybe someday?
Absolutely. I had a whole plan that I didn't tell anyone until I was like 15. I remember I told my mom.
What age did the plan begin to formulate?
Immediately when I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1981. That's when I was, that's what I wanted to do. But I don't know if it was that clear. It was just like I want to run from boulders. It's not. I want to be an actor.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Actually, did you want to run from boulders in your backyard or on a movie set?
Well, my friend Kemper and I would like go and get dry ice and set up a pond with fake fog over it and swing a rope over it, swing on a rope over it because it was like Yoda's it was like what's the name of Yoda's planet?
Oh, not Tatooine.
It wasn't Hoth. It was.
No, it's the Dagobah
Chat room,
system.
help
The
us.
Dagobah.
Dagobah.
Dagobah?
Yes.
So we, in a sense, we were always, like all kids do, acting out their kind of fantasies. But ours were very specifically, we are now making this movie. And, you know, I think a lot of kids do that sort of thing. But from very early on, it was kind of a plan of mine that I wanted to do this. And
Did you have a camera, by the way, when you were?
No, we did a lot of stuff with just tape recorders. But again, a lot of kids do that. I don't think it's particularly unique. But I do think that that it was something I was really kind of planning on doing. And then once I got into junior high school, then there was finally a theater program, and so I started doing stuff then.
Yeah.
On a fairly regular basis.
And you went. You told your mom first because that was the safest place, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
To share this dream with.
Yeah, and it was something. I think it was River Phoenix had just been nominated for an Oscar for Running on Empty around the time I was probably 15 or something. And I remember, I was really inspired by that, and that he was such a young kid, and I identified with him from all his work and everything. And I remember I finally told my mom, like, look, I plan on doing this. I think I can do this, and I think. I think this is what I'm going to do, and I just want you to know. And I may have even told her not to tell anyone, because it was kind of embarrassing, because at the high school I went to, they called them drama mags, the people that did plays and stuff.
Drama freaks and
yeah. Drama freaks.
Yeah.
Like they wore black and listened to the Smiths and.
Well, I'm so old they were listening to Cole Porter, but yes. But yes, the thing was that they were different. They were weird on purpose. Yes. They had affectations when they were 16.
Yes.
It was all wrong.
Yes.
Yeah. And you didn't want to be lumped in with them.
I did not. And I remember being a snob and being like, none of them are any good.
You already knew that.
Yeah. Like, if this is the thing they're identifying themselves with, and this is the thing they're going after, acting,
right?
Then I don't want to be associated with them on a kind of an aesthetic level, because they get, dog shit thrown at them. But then also, I don't think they're that good at acting. So I kind of was trying to enter kind of that world at our school, but by also socially trying to stay with the kind of more. This is making me sound like a real asshole.
No, I think what's nice about what you're sharing, to be honest with you, is, and this is one of the things that happens on occasion on the show, is that, these are pretty small moments in a life where normally you would go on a show and it would be tell us what it was like with all the blood in the lake, which we'll get to. But I'm just overly fascinated by one's journey, and we all suffer from "hey, look at me" disease. The question is, when did we first get the bug?
Right.
That I'm interested in, and also when you decided to get very serious about it.
Yeah.
You didn't just talk about it or apply yourself in your high school. You ended up at the, and I have it written down because I always forget, American Academy of Dramatic Arts, the one in Pasadena.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious how that came to be, because I had this similar dreams at a similar age, and then ass backwards fell into stand-up, thereby avoiding any actual training.
Sure.
Whatsoever. So I'm overly fascinated by that pursuit, which I wasn't able to do.
Right. Well, to be honest, the reason I ended up going to the American Academy is that they didn't...
Tell me the lie first.
Okay. To not be honest, I went there because it was my first choice.
Okay, nice. I always like the lie first.
Right.
All right, and then...
But to be honest, Kevin, they didn't require a GPA of any merit.
Sure.
And I was a terrible student.
They wanted your money.
Yeah, basically. And I had it to borrow from my grandmother. So
were you a terrible student because, like me, you were bored because the teachers were bored? What was your reason, do you think?
Yeah, I was lazy. I still am fairly lazy. When I really applied myself, fine. I got like a 3.7 once when I really tried.
Right.
But
Jesus.
other than,
That's really applying
yourself. So that'll kind of show you my wheelhouse as far as being a student goes. Thanks, Sam.
No, I'm saying, like,
fuck you. I thought that was great.
No,
I can't believe it
can't-
took 61 shows before someone told Sam to fuck off. That's fantastic.
You
say it every week.
Yeah,
I meant a guess.
But wait a second. Isn't 3.7 as high as you can go?
Out of a possible
Out of
4?
possible 4.0.
Yeah.
No, I remember I went out with a girl that got a 4.1, so I actually
Oh,
was.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
I think she was lying to you.
Speaking of fuck you, take your 4.1 and shove it up
If you
your
can,
ass.
I think that's an advanced placement class. If you
Yeah,
have AP
probably.
class.
Yeah, there
Isn't
is
that
like
like-
some special.
Yeah.
Isn't that also like giving 110%?
Right.
No, my question
Like that's
is-
not possible. Stop it.
Stop saying that.
What was your not trying GPA? That's
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
2.7.
My God.
I got
Couple of,
I was pulled out of a school play because I got like a 1.3.
nice.
Like I just wasn't doing it. I would go to math class to calculus. Lord knows why I was in calculus.
Very
And-
advanced.
And I would just listen on my headphones and read Rolling Stone. I wouldn't even look at the teacher. So I wasn't getting good grades, obviously. So
How did you even find out about the Academy of Dramatic Art?
I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe my drama teacher in high school, Kathy Warner. Maybe she
Did she take
had pamphlets or something.
an interest in you to the point of like a first mentor in this
Absolutely.
world? Yeah.
She. I went in as a freshman and kind of dabbled in an acting class, but wouldn't audition for the plays because I didn't want the social stigma. I was
Right.
very concerned with that,
Right.
as any high school kid is, and so it wasn't until my sophomore year that I actually.
Secretly auditioned.
I secretly auditioned and got like the lead in the play, and it upset all the kind of the drama crowd because I wasn't.
You were an outsider.
Yeah, I wasn't like a jock or anything, but I wasn't one of them. So I just
right.
came in. So anyway, so yeah, she very much took me under her wing, and I would direct plays, and
Holy shit.
I directed Crimes of the Heart. You know that Beth Henley play.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I thought of myself as like the next Spike Lee. Like I grew a goatee and wore a Knicks hat. I'm serious. And
you
an
didn't.
Africa
No, you didn't.
Africa
No, you
medallion.
didn't.
I did do that.
That's so
I did.
fantastic.
And I did a lighting scheme in Crimes of the Heart that was kind of ripping off Ernest Dickerson's cinematography from Do the Right Thing. What? I know. I did that. So
Again, with no camera.
yeah, not pretentious at all. Right, no camera. This is a play.
And yet you had the design of that's fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe.
But you were applying yourself, and you had this mentor, and this
Yeah.
is what's making a difference in your life.
Yes.
Clearly.
Yeah.
While calculus represents new iTunes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So she might have turned you on to this Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Yeah. So I went and
You applied, and they said, "How much do you have?"
Right. Basically. But it actually was a wonderful place to go. I mean, I was really excited, and I auditioned to get in, and it was a very exciting time. And so I moved down here to Pasadena in '91, and started going to school there. And I, didn't know anyone.
You moved to LA when you were 18.
18 years old. Yeah,
And you didn't know anyone.
not one person.
Can I say the folks are pretty lax?
My
About this
folks?
journey?
Oh well, they came down with me, found the apartment.
Sure.
But they were. I think they were pretty nervous. Not just letting me move to Los Angeles by myself, but they were nervous about the whole acting thing.
Yeah, if I didn't paint enough of a cozy setting of what it is to grow up in Santa Cruz, this little tiny
right,
beach
right,
town,
Right.
and then letting the boy free in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
city of good luck finding an angel.
Yeah.
All right, so you're 18. Holy crap! You're
But
at the-
luckily, it was Pasadena, so it wasn't quite as harsh.
Oh, that's true.
But still, much bigger than Santa Cruz.
Yeah, but Pasadena is very all about the neighborhood and expansive lawns and the suggestion of family and friends.
Weirdly quiet streets.
It's where stalkers and serial killers do their, junior grade level work. I would think it's where you do your studying,
It's a perfect place to learn how to kill people.
right?
Yeah.
But you chose to study.
I was following acting.
I see. And so I want to know, you're there, you feel like you're kind of stepping up the bigs, you auditioned to get in,
Yeah.
that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
You were probably a little, I'm guessing, full with confidence from your experiences if you're already directing and dressing up like Spike Lee, so that winning with this audition was not shocking to you. You half expected to get in.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess, but I really didn't know because...
Did it represent the big leagues in any way?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, when I got into that school, it was big news. You know, my family, but also like, you know, the drama department at Harbor High School was all a Twitter that I was. This is before Twitter.
Long before Twitter, technically.
The that I was going to LA and I, you know, starting my big career, even to the point where, as I was like packing my stuff to go, I remember this the other day. It was so weird. I was packing all my stuff to go and saying goodbye to people, and like friends' parents would be like, "Wow, so how long till we see you in a big movie or something?" And I would say, "Well, I'm going to school for a couple years, but you'll be hearing from me." I would say that to people. Like, it was so cocky.
So before you portrayed a famous dick on screen,
yes, I was.
You were doing research.
Yeah, I was doing research on how to be a dick.
Well, I think that just comes with youth and a sense of.
No, don't worry. My ego and
they take it right out of you in this town,
was
baby.
Shattered, but, you know, very quickly.
I was trying to suggest that in that opening sermon. That
well, that was right on, by the way.
It's such a part of your life. It's not just a hurdle. It's not just a part of it. And you have to actually, if there's any way to get to the point where you can convince yourself when you walk into the room that I'm probably going to get this because I don't want it. All right, so you're applying yourself in the class. Are there method actors around you? Is it how serious are these students?
I think there were people that thought they were. I remember there was a guy that was so into Robert De Niro that he said, "Oh, thanks."
See if I can spill this again.
He wanted to put a mole on his face. I mean, he was kind of joking, I think, but at the same time, he wasn't joking.
Where's he now?
I don't know.
De Niro?
Oh, the kid that won.
I'm sorry.
Robert De Niro is a famous actor, Kevin. You've worked with him, okay?
He's the guy with the mole.
Yeah, he is a mole. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Sorry, it's 3 hours sleep.
3 hours sleep.
Wait, who's Robert De Niro?
Is he the little guy?
Yeah.
Hey, what's the matter with you, fuckface? Is that him?
Joe Pesci. Kevin, you were in a movie with these guys. Like one of the most famous mob movies of all. Anyway, seriously?
Is this happening? All right, so there's a couple method people. The guy wants to grow a mole, wants to be like De Niro.
But you know, a lot of people at the Academy were, and I don't know, it's probably not like this now. In fact, I know it's not because I've visited. They have a new campus in Hollywood, and it's actually pretty amazing. But at the time, At the time, it was. There were a lot of there were some people trying out the acting thing that were quit their job in Minnesota and decided to move here and try the acting thing. So immediately I was like, huh. And you know, all my confidence was gone because I had moved I was just shattered to be in this new place and not know anyone. I was very young. So I didn't know what I was doing.
Were you still sporting the Knicks hat?
No, I had moved out of my Spike Lee phase. I was dressing like Robert Altman.
I see.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a very mixed bag of people. It was like there would be someone middle-aged, there would be people like me who were right out of high school, but most people had already gone to college, because it wasn't a college, it was like a trade school, right. You know. Hence you don't need a GP. I think you had to have a 2.0 to get in.
You had to have a diploma.
You had to have a piece of paper that said you wanted to come to this place. So, and then there's a second year where you have to be invited back for the second year.
Was the guy wanting to grow the mole or attach the mole, was he the most pretentious? Because I would think it's a breeding ground for...
Oh man, yeah, theater school, if you're looking for pretension, that is the place to go. And I certainly was one of them.
Hotbed.
Oh my God.
In a sense,
Lord.
you felt at home.
Yes. Oh my God.
It was one of those occasions.
I would really let my flag fly.
And do you remember any standout moments there where you actually questioned your career choice?
At school? at first, the first few months were really rough for me because I had no confidence, and I mean, don't you think that the key to doing any good work is being kind of, at least, if not confident, at least relaxed?
Yes.
So I was freaked out, and I didn't know, and I was learning new things, and I didn't know. So
also, first time away from home.
Yeah, it was awful.
None of your friends. How could you not be horrified? And then also, there must be a sense of just immediately in over your head.
Yes.
Also based on so many people around you not also being 18.
Yes. And I think even once I got there, everyone's saying this is going to be so hard. Like, once you get out there in the world, it's impossible. Like, good luck. That's all anyone ever says.
And you're there for a couple of years?
2 years, yeah.
And as the second year is starting to wind down, you've already been back home several times, telling everybody, oh, it's going great.
Yeah.
But as the 2 years are starting to wind down, is it obvious you're staying, or is there a part of you that's going, I don't know?
Yeah. No, I immediately made plans to move to Hollywood and try to get an agent and do all that stuff. And no, I never, in fact, very early on, I knew that my main advantage was going to be that I would never leave. That, because even in school, I was able to kind of see, like, there were some people that were already kind of talking about maybe moving home for a couple of years before they come back to start
their careers.
Yeah. And I just thought, like, why waste that time? Like, if you leave, you're taking yourself out of.
And that's pretty heads up.
Yeah, and it ended up being the one thing I think that ended up giving me a career was that I never left.
Yeah.
I never.
The sooner you start, the sooner you can get through the first several thousand rejections and actually.
Sure. Get your heart.
Tell me about your first manager who charged you a monthly fee. This is
where did you?
This is one of my favorite show business moments that I've read in quite some time. Your first manager charged you
$40 a month.
Wow.
Unless you were working, then you did not have to pay.
Really? You just took a straight commission?
Yeah.
I see. But until those commissions start rolling in, I'm going to need $40 a month.
$40 a month. Yeah, and you know what? She got me auditions, and I got my first acting job from her. I mean, I got first couple acting jobs were acting jobs, and it was extra work, and she was just like, no, that's an acting job, you know. And I was
so initially you were being sent out to be an extra.
Yeah.
Under the guise
that there was acting.
You're
jobs.
an actor now.
It was.
And how
like
soon
music videos and stuff.
To a 20-year-old or 21-year-old does it become clear that no, this is extra work? Was it just immediate?
Immediately. I remember calling her. It was extra work in a Danzig music video where I had a caveman outfit on, and we were just in the audience at a concert.
Sure.
And I remember wearing this ridiculous outfit and calling her on a payphone and being like, I think this is extra work. Is this extra work? Because I thought this was like an acting gig, and she's like, no, that's acting. That's acting. Just enjoy yourself. It's fun. Welcome to Hollywood. And then it's like, okay, well,
I'm still gonna need the 40. By the way.
Yeah, I was still paying 40 at that point.
Yeah. You stayed there in the caveman outfit.
Yeah, and I did have friends that I was in school with who knew about this manager and were like, I don't know, that seems a little fucked up that she's asking for a monthly. And my whole thing was, what else am I going to do? Not pay her $40 and not have a manager who might get me up? Like, who am I to, turn my nose up at anything?
Well, how long is it before you realize that there are managers out there that don't charge?
I was with her for
17 years.
I was with her. She's sitting out there. I don't know if you met her. I was with her for like 2-3 years.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, maybe that wasn't ethically right, but she got me my first job.
I know what you mean about a sense of someone wants to represent me. I don't care what the strings attached are.
Yeah.
The first manager I met with, she had me read a scene, and because I, again, came from no training whatsoever, just stand-up comedy, which I'd been doing for over a dozen years at that point.
Yeah.
Even as a young man, I started so young. So by the time she said read a scene, I'm like, yeah, sure, what is it?
Yeah.
And I read the scene, and I could even sense, even from no experience, that while I was reading it, this is not what it looks like in a movie.
Right.
And so I finished the scene, and she said, you know what? how's the stand-up working out? But she was being very sincere. She wasn't trying to be funny, and I didn't get the joke. And I actually walked out of her apartment, walked into my car thinking, literally like a bad after-school special.
Yeah.
I will show that bitch.
Yeah, yeah,
What?
yeah.
How stupid.
But first of all, it was in her apartment.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was her office.
Well, I remember my first meeting with that particular manager. She had me do a monologue, and during the monologue, she took a call. She said, but before I started, she said, "Listen,
I may get a call.
I'm really busy. If I get a call, don't stop." Seriously. And so I did the monologue just sitting in a chair on the other side of her desk.
How is that not a scene in a movie? Have we seen this moment?
And she did.
This has to be a scene.
She did get a call and she's like, "Yeah, okay."
Billy.
And I just kept
Billy for sure.
going with the monologue. It was pretty funny.
Was it Helen Kushnick? Boy, that is so inside.
Wow.
Yeah, no, late shift.
Ellen Kushnick was Leno's Colonel Tom Parker.
By the way, how great is the Late Shift movie? That is
I
so
think
good.
That may be HBO's best
I agree.
movie.
I agree.
I wonder if it's just because we so love the inside stuff, because I found it fascinating as
Yeah.
well. But the guy who wrote it has been a great critic. Washington Post, I think, forever.
New York Times.
New York Times.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's the sequel. Bill Carter.
Carter.
The sequel is coming out in the fall, I believe.
With all the updated stuff?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yep.
And you play...
Oh, I'm playing Jay Leno's assistant. Is it assistant? Sam, you were there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, the assistant.
Jay Leno's assistant.
So you had also extensive work in improv.
As you can tell.
He was up to your...
Immediately handing it up. Sam, you take this?
Yes,
What?
and
What did I do? Excellent.
Immediately turned to your scene partner saying, "We were
What?
at the...
Wait,
where
what?
Were we? Where were we?"
we're at that Starbucks. They were
Wow.
out of the
the,
cabin.
the Starbucks out on Fifth.
Right, that's
Yeah,
the one.
that's the one. Just pick a number.
Oh, goodness.
All right, so I want to include the fine folks who are tuning in record numbers to share their interest. Let's start with at Jonathan Beckner from the Twitter writes, when Adam was on Eastbound and Down, could he improvise or was he supposed to stick to the script? How does Danny McBride work? Let's jump around. So we'll time travel to not too long ago, a couple of years ago, when you got an opportunity to crush the dreams of Kenny Powers.
Yes. A lot of improvisation there.
I sensed.
At Eastbound and Down. In fact, all the stuff in the scene.
What was the framework that you would start with?
Oh, we would do a scripted one.
Okay.
And then scripted screwing around a little bit, and then screwing around a lot, and then throw in another scripted. You know, it's very loose.
Right.
with those
Adam
guys.
McKay. And
Yeah, yeah.
Was he directing?
No, Jody Hill directed that one.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean the line that's my favorite and the one that people often kind of quote back to me, which is about the American Express card, where I say gold card will get you Jonas Brothers tickets. Black card will have all three of them sucking your dick. That was Jody's, just thought of it and threw it out there. So it was like, it wasn't in the script.
That kind of free form.
Yeah. And that's...
And McBride is improvising a lot himself.
Oh yeah, totally. Those guys are really fun. And you know, that way of working I hadn't done until like McKay and
In Step Brothers?
in Step Brothers, yeah. Or also when Apatow directed Knocked Up. I had
Knocked
a
Up.
tiny part in Knocked Up, and
Did you stumble into this group, or did you just met him through auditions, or how did?
No, I'm good buddies with Paul Rudd
And Shauna also.
and Shauna Robertson.
Robertson,
yeah.
right.
And so I was just kind of around that summer, the summer
That's
of
Judd's producer, we should
yeah,
point out.
The summer of '06, I believe, was when they shot Knocked Up, and I was just kind of around because I'm friends with them, and so I did like the table read of it. I actually read Rudd's part at the table read because he was doing a play or something, and so
Let's
Sean,
just say getting sucked off by the Jonas Brothers.
yeah, which from now on, for the purposes in this interview, that means doing a play. Okay, all right. By the way, when I was in acting school, I got sucked off by the Jonas Brothers a lot.
Did you always have to audition for that?
Well, there was an audition process, but mostly that you would just be able to. They would just assign you a different situation to get sucked off by the Jonas Brothers, and you would just go do
Those
it.
purity rings are bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
We were led to believe a total fantasy.
Yeah.
Purity rings are bullshit.
Total bullshit.
I like that.
All
right, so
anyway, yeah. So
when did you actually? Let's jump back a few years before that, when you first became pals with the Rudd Machine, who was on the show from New York about a month ago.
Oh, cool.
And one of the areas that I didn't get to, which always happens, there's always a few areas with him, was Party Down. So let's talk about you were friends with him obviously before that, and with a group of people.
Right.
Was it Veronica Mars?
No.
Prior to that.
Paul also went to the academy.
Of course.
But he went a couple years before me, but we kind of had the same friends and stuff. So we just kind of met back then and then did a play together right when I got out of school in like the fall of '93, called Bloody Poetry.
Speaking of getting sucked off by the Jonas Brothers.
We got sucked off by the Jonas Brothers together in the fall of '93.
And it was bloody poetry.
It was bloody poetry.
And that's being sucked off by the Jonas Brothers, it was bloody poetry.
Yeah.
I just repeated your joke.
All right. It was worth repeating.
I'm not sure which line reading I like better. I'm gonna have to think about it. During Who Tweeted, I'll make my decision.
So we've been buddies for a long time.
Right.
I guess is my answer.
And Party Down was like a something that during it was after Veronica Mars. It was like the show creators had a crew.
Yes.
And this was something you guys had talked about doing just to fuck off. And
actually, it was a few years even before that. Paul and Rob Thomas, Dan Etheridge, and John Enbaum had created this thing together and were shopping it around, trying to sell it with Paul in the part that I eventually played. And their idea was like Paul in that part, Steve Carell in the Ron Donald part, Jane Lynch was still.
And it was pitched around at networks.
It was pitched around the networks, and
for a while it lived at HBO.
Yeah,
right?
very loosely, I think, and then
right.
ultimately passed on. And the part of Roman was written for me, that Martin Starr's part.
Right.
But then it lived a little while there, I think, and then it died. And then when Veronica Mars got canceled, they just resurrected it. And Rob said, let's just shoot it in my backyard. I have this crew. Let's shoot at my house for 4 or 5 days. So that's what we did. And then
they call that a web series now.
Yes, yes. And even a few years ago, that didn't even exist. So we did that, and then like a year and a half later, Starz picked it up. So it was by the time Starz decided they wanted to make it into a show, we had all kind of forgotten about it.
Right. Was it an agent at some point somewhere was pushing this? Because I don't imagine they were out pitching at that point because it had lived at so many different places.
Yeah.
Under the pitch.
Well, I think they took the finished pilot and brought it to a few different places.
Oh, right.
And
send it around.
And Starz was the one that decided to pick it up.
Right. Of course, at that point, you'd already done Hellraiser, so you were...
So they knew what they were dealing with.
Right.
Hellraiser 4.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Hellraiser 4.
Well,
I should have specified.
Hellraiser Bloodline, but those in the know, they know it's the fourth one.
It's the fourth.
Yeah.
Bigger diva, Mary Tyler Moore or Ed Asner?
Jesus Christ. They're both a fucking nightmare. Where do I start? I remember Ed Asner, the way he handled his per diem was impressive.
You know, it is the little things when you're young and so impressionable, and you're around someone with that sort of pedigree. My God.
Someone handed him the envelope of cash. Sure. I had never gotten per diem before, and I got mine, which was a lot less, but he pulled his out. And it was right when those new $100 bills came out with the giant Ben Franklin on them.
Sure.
And he's just so casually just like, all right, and he's talking about something else, just fiddling with these $100 bills. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, those $100 bills mean nothing to this man. For me, that's like, I want to come on those $100 bills. That's amazing. That is so much fucking money. But for him, it was And he was actually, you know, pretty amazing dude.
Now, all these years later,
Yeah.
I beg to differ, and I would ask that if this is your experience now, at some point, if you're fortunate enough to get enough work,
Yeah.
then the per diem being cash is the only money that actors ever get their greedy little hands on.
Oh, absolutely.
The paychecks come in, they seem to go towards
Yeah.
paying the bills, and there's a system that
Yeah.
keeps running by. And you don't have, it's per diem is the only time that money actually gets
Yeah.
dropped in your hands, and whether it's $300 or $400 working on a movie on location.
Oh, it's great.
It to this day, so I beg to differ that I believe Ed Asner was like, yeah, give me that,
can't
give
wait.
me those Benjamins.
Can't wait to get over to Best Buy. That's what he was thinking. Because I get, if I get like $350 for per diem for 7 days, I spend that like I am a fucking pimp. Like you keep in your mind as you're buying something stupid, you keep thinking, oh, well, per diem, it's fine. But by the time a week is out, you've spent that $350
And then some.
and then some.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
That's how they get you. That's how that's how Hollywood gets you,
Yeah,
Kevin.
is they give you $350 and you end up spending $1,000.
Motherfucker.
There's no way to get ahead.
And were all those Richard Marx cassette tapes even worth it?
No,
No.
they aren't. Well, yes, they are.
All right.
And when Party of Five comes along, you think your life is about to change.
I really did.
Yeah, of course.
I really did.
You had to have.
Oh my God, are you kidding? I had scenes with Nev Campbell and Scott Bairstow.
Right.
I mean,
You're
How
friends.
much further can you go?
You're friends from home. Seriously, it takes a show like that. I find sometimes before your friends start saying, "Well, now you're in show business."
right? No, I remember.
Now you're on a show that I love and watch every week.
Yeah, I remember when, because I did, I think like 4 of them or something. But I remember I was in the season premiere of Party of Five once, and a friend of mine was like really impressed for the first time. And I remember I got followed in a grocery store once, and that was my first taste of. And then it immediately went away when I stopped being on the show.
What's going through your mind when you're followed into the grocery?
Oh, I thought it was. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because I've been like, you know,
When is this going to
thirsting
happen?
for some sort of attention for at that point I guess like 8 years or something. And so
When is the damn
I got
recognition?
followed in a grocery store by a girl, and for you know what, it probably had nothing to do with me, or she was probably just looking for cereal or something. But I took it as I was being followed in a grocery store.
Oh, so this person was just close to you, and you turned around and said, "Are you a fan of the show? What's happening?"
Yeah. No, she never spoke to me, so it was probably just my imagination.
You were never even asked for an autograph or something?
No. It was probably nothing.
Oh my God.
But I thought it was special.
Yeah. So I went on and on and on, if not ad nauseum, about the wonderful rejections. Did you collect any on your way to Defiant Helm Crewman in Star Trek First Contact? Were you, did any of them stand out and last to this day somewhere in your memory banks of horrific audition scenarios or great audition scenarios? Those are the toughest ones for me to remember. It's like a poker player. You remember the hands you lose, not the hands you won.
Right. I mean, it was so many. I mean, over the years and years. I mean, it was 7 years before I got a role that made any difference in my career, that actually started any sort of a career.
Right.
And so,
And people,
that's so many.
yeah, people just don't factor that in.
No. And like years of being in this little studio apartment.
And so, how do you keep, at some point, the game plan together
Right.
during those 7 years? Because it's one thing for me to go on about how you have to be able to embrace rejection. It's
Right.
another thing to share what the hell you did. Was there, those moments? I know for me, it was never, ever an option.
Yeah.
But I had stand-up comedy to go
Yeah.
out into clubs here
Sure.
and there and get my Jones
Sure.
fulfilled on some stage
Yeah.
by doing my little stupid impersonation.
And you had a legitimate stand-up career too, like a huge one.
legitimate in the sense that I could make a living.
Sure.
Which would compound all the rejection when I got back home. But
Sure.
when you don't have that,
Yeah.
I have to wonder. So, are you a waiter? What are you doing?
Well, I was actually making my living. I was doing guest spots and stuff for 7 years. I mean, I was making my living. I mean, every once in a while I have to borrow money from my dad or my mom or whoever had money for me to borrow. But
Well, you're in your 20s. That's the time to borrow the money.
sure,
Yeah.
But I have to say, like, for being
That's still astounding for 7 years while you're struggling through all these rejections that you still managed to pay your rent for 7 years.
You can. I mean, you can be a working actor completely anonymous and make your living. I mean, I was certainly doing it. But I think that there's something that, at least that happened with me, where for the longest time, you have this kind of psychological thing to keep your confidence up and to keep yourself going. And it's almost a subconscious thing where you spin the events that are happening to you in a certain way.
Absolutely.
Where, like, I remember being on the phone with someone at a certain point and them saying something about a part I didn't get or something, and just mentioning it, and them saying, well, don't worry, it'll happen. And I remember thinking, I was so offended. I was like,
It's happening.
it's happening. What Yeah,
Did you not
you're
see
looking at
me?
it like this is totally happening.
Yeah. I'm a working actor making a living and
Right.
paying my rent.
Right, and I always thought like I was always like on the verge of it happening, or it was happening, and this is as good as it. I just, like, in my mind was making myself believe that I was and it was just a survival instinct.
It is a survival instinct, and by the way, it's one of the ways you combat the endless series
Yeah.
of rejections. And also, every time you run into somebody in LA, at every single level,
Yeah.
by the way, it never ends.
I know.
You have to answer the question, what are you working on?
Ugh.
And so you start to develop, at a very early age here
Yep.
in town, an answer to that question.
Yep.
And in fact, everything that's even possible is what you're working on.
Yep.
And then you start to actually swim in this particular
Yep.
pool, and there's no changing that mindset. One of the reasons is that it's just a way to keep the conversation.
Yep.
From being, the last couple of things I really wanted didn't work. I mean, who wants to?
No, I know it's really
Fantastic, isn't it?
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I know that if Funny or Die and kind of the YouTube were around when I was starting out, that would have been wonderful.
Exactly.
And whenever, if people ever ask me for advice on starting out, I always say, like, just make videos.
Do a web series. Don't even think about it.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's
Just
ridiculous
get
now.
to it. Like, if you make a really funny video, Adam McKay will see it.
Right.
Like, if it's really good, he'll totally see it.
Right.
Like, that's amazing. Like, there's nothing like that 15 years ago.
Right.
I think that's just a great outlet for, and I don't know if I would have been one of those people doing that, but I certainly would have tried.
Well, you had dry ice in your backyard, and you just
Yeah.
used a tape recorder, so I don't think you really understood the whole medium.
I still do that, by the way.
be honest with you.
Now I have a dry ice maker in the basement.
His name is Larry.
Yeah, he's a wonderful man.
All right, so you eventually start to run with this new world of comedy that Judd Apatow is at the forefront of. As you said, you're friends with his producer, and you've been friends already with Paul, and there's a sense of community, I think,
Yeah.
in your generation.
Yeah.
And so when he wins, the whole generation kind of wins.
Right.
And Adam McKay and Will Ferrell, of course, are now the newer kingpins of that particular
Right.
generation. But at the forefront, it seemed like, in your peer group,
Yeah.
it was Apatow.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts to get a little easier, or just a sense of, well, I'm in this group now, and we're all working,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's only a matter of time before. I mean, obviously, the part in Knocked Up wasn't enough for you.
No, I mean, I did that just because, like I said,
You're here, do this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of like that. But I never, even then, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go into comedy. I was like about to start shooting Tell Me You Love Me, this like super depressing, like dark HBO show about relationships and stuff. Like, I thought that was where my career was going to go, was this dramatic.
Yeah, you did
thing,
take
you know?
this big turn.
Yeah.
Before, I think, you're right. Before anyone got to know your real comedy chops.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't even know if you thought of yourself as being, well,
At
I'm
all.
the funny one.
No, not at all. I mean, I certainly grew up wishing I was, and with
Who
Three
were
Amigos
your
and Blues Brothers.
Three Amigos?
Three Amigos is still kind of one of my favorites. But Stripes and Caddyshack and all those.
She loves Three Amigos.
Oh, you do?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Martin Short was my first crush
Oh,
because
yeah.
of that movie.
Three Amigos is incredible.
Yeah.
And very underrated at the time. I remember it tanked, got terrible reviews, and I
it was one of those, it was on HBO constantly when I was a kid, so I was always watching it then.
it's a wonderful movie.
Kevin, why weren't you in Three Amigos? I just wanted to say that as a thing, because I'm sure all three of us have heard that question from a friend or family member.
Yeah, why were you? Why
weren't you in that?
As if you could have.
My
it was
family
your
does
choice.
that to me all the time.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors asked me why I wasn't hosting a late night show the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well.
And they wonder why we call them pedestrians and shitheads. But the problem is we can't handle these questions. That's why we come up with these awful...
Those questions make your head explode.
They cut us to our bone marrow. Well, I remember
God.
when my brother said, I've been in L.A. a couple of years as a stand-up comedian, trying to get acting auditions, couldn't get any, because I had no formal training and just a comedian who thought he could do it someday. And my brother said, you know what you got to do? You got to get on the Carson show.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Fuck, I hadn't thought of that.
Really?
Jesus, that's it.
Really?
I got to get on the Carson show.
You cracked the case.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mrs. Colombo.
Good God.
We like to have a little fun here with a little something we call Tweet 5.
Yes.
David Keckner. This is what you're missing from the visual. Look at that knucklehead.
David Keckner.
Look at that crazy puss. This one coming to you from @Cockamamie. These are this or that Coke or Pepsi type questions. There's no correct answer, just the one you choose.
Okay.
Scott's or Charmin? TP wise. Toilet paper?
Oh. Neither.
You've already thought about it too much. Thank you. That is the correct answer. John or Quincy Adams?
Oh, Quincy.
That one.
I love
right
that.
Away.
There's no choice for you. I mean, there's no party of five or party down.
Oh, party down.
Please. Plain or peanut?
Peanut.
M&M's. Rather play golf or the Leonard Maltin game?
Leonard Maltin game. God damn it. I love that game. It's the best game.
It's the best game.
I'll be playing that game in a couple. You're not supposed to.
Doug doesn't like it, but it's all right. It's all right.
People are probably watching this after the fact.
Somewhat soon, I will be playing the Leonard Maltin game.
Look for his podcast. It may have already been happened, depending on when they're watching this. All right, so you've been on the Twitter now a year.
Yeah, but only active for about 4 months.
Right?
Yeah, right when Party Down was kind of in the middle of the season, I started actually doing it.
And did some fabulous jagoff already take the name, or you wanted to kind of hide a little bit?
I didn't even think about it. Just when I created an account, I don't know why I just put that. The 89 is actually a reference to an REM reference, because I've been an REM fan for a long time, and that is a reference too. And so, and I just thought of that as I was doing it.
Well, to a lot of people, they think of it as an email address, and you don't want to be obvious.
No, it's not my email address.
Well, thankfully. But I mean, they think of it in terms of, don't make it about me, make it some other thing. And
Yeah, I should have just done Adam Scott or Adam, because it's easier. And
if you want people to follow you.
yes, it's easier if you want to have people follow
I'm not sure
which
what
is the whole point of Twitter.
Well, to me, I'm trying to gather followers because I've already made the Kool-Aid,
Right.
and I want to kill them all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I want to teach them a lesson. You don't
Yes.
follow strangers. What the hell's the matter with you?
Right. Here you go. Here's your Kool-Aid.
Right.
Die, fucker. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what Twitter's about. Die fucker. Speaking of which, we have our own little game we like to play here. Enter now Sam Levine, the host of the game. Jamie, you have a question?
No, I have something to say.
Please.
When we were arguing on the way here
Oh my God.
as to who,
Is this happening?
listen, as to who came to see you in Kentucky, it was Twishy Poo. It was not PGH Pushy Lover, because that's JC, and Twishy is very upset.
Well, she said her name so fast last night when I was in Lexington, Kentucky, signing the CDs after the show, because I like to meet my audience and then, of course, take their money. And she said her name so fast, I heard a Ushi sound, I guess, and thought my brain just connected it to the only name that I knew, which was the other one. So she's upset, and now I've apologized, and let's move on. But You were right, is the point.
Yes, that's what I wanted to get to.
That's the
Thank
point.
you.
But honey, come on, you're always right.
Thank you.
Here, check out this segue. Well, if Jamie was right about that one, let's see if you are going to be right about this one. It's time for Who Tweeted? Tyra, Paris, or Demi? Roll the intro.
There it is.
They tweet them, I
Who
read 'em,
tweeted? Brought to you
'cause they
by
all tweet.
Sam Levine.
Hey!
Sammy, how the hell does this game work?
Oh, this is a very exciting game. I'll tell you.
Jesus Christ.
That's the best reaction we've had
Well
yet.
deserved. I'm going to read a series of 8 tweets, and then you and Mr. Pollock are going to play head-to-head against each other.
Do I need a pen and a piece
You
of
do
paper?
not.
He's going to keep score, but I like to do the same.
Yep, we're both going to keep score.
Now-
Double check each other.
Before you start, have you participated in any of these game nights that are all the rage for the last several years,
Yeah.
all over Hollywood?
Yeah.
Are you much of a gamer?
I like being in a dark room by myself watching television
So
quietly.
then you're going to love this game.
Okay, sounds fun.
I think you're going to do very well at this.
Okay.
I really do. So here's how it works. I will read a tweet, and then you will buzz in by saying your name, and then you have 3 seconds to say either Tyra, Paris, or Demi. As in, that's who you
Oh, so
wrote the tweet.
but you have to buzz it. In.
Yeah, just
Okay.
say your name.
So he'll
and then
know
I'll
which one of us gets to guess.
Got it.
You say Adam, I say Kevin,
Now,
and then there's a
We're
rule
not, we're
change.
not playing for kicks.
No, we're not. You're not going to go with the rule
20
I
change?
don't like
bucks.
the rule change.
$20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
All right.
The owner of Mahalo, Jason Galcanis, has his own private bathroom, and there's no toilet paper in there. There's just like a big bowl of these.
Damn.
So
What a life.
that is what you are playing for.
What a life.
That
All
crisp,
right.
possibly soiled $20 bill.
Paris, Tyra,
Or Demi.
or Demi. All right.
All right. Here we go. Tweet number 1. Had an amazing dinner meeting earlier. Now at home packing to fly back to Las Vegas for Magic to showcase my newest shoe line collection.
Paris. Adam.
That's correct.
Paris.
There it is.
Sorry.
Nice
Adam
one.
then
sorry,
Paris.
sorry,
That is
sorry.
correct. Yes, I forgot to tell you the points. You're going to get yourself 5 points
Nicely
for that
done.
correct answer.
Nicely
But
done.
you lose 3 if you're buzzing and you're wrong.
Okay.
So there is a penalty. All right, here we go. Tweet number 2. Me and badass nerd Adam Sivani. You must go check out his new movie, Step Up 3D. Opens today everywhere. I'm guessing this was a photograph caption.
Kevin, and I'll go Tyra.
Incorrect. I'm sorry, that was Demi.
Nicely done.
Demi, you are commanding lead.
She's right about that movie, by the way. It's fantastic.
I've heard nothing but amazing things
Incredible.
about Step Up 3D.
Yeah.
Tweet number 3.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with frozen yogurt, Froyo. I just went to Red Mango and had new key lime pie Froyo flavor. Wow! Tasted so good!
Now, are they stretching out the O's?
Yes.
Okay. On the so?
I'm reading it.
Can I again say Jesus Christ?
Yes, you can.
You can.
That is the correct
can,
answer
sure.
this time.
Adam,
Yes.
Tyra.
Expanding his lead further. That is
Oh my
correct.
God!
Wow, this is
What
a
the
runaway.
hell?
This is a runaway so far.
I know them well, guys. I know them well.
I really do.
Clearly follows all 3.
Wow, I'm impressed.
I am too.
This is, you better step up your game, my friend.
Thank you.
Let's at least keep it close.
I was wondering when you might ask.
Tweet number 4.
Number 4.
The wonderful, talented, amazing Italian designer Roberto Cavalli sent me the gorgeous roses.
Kevin Paris.
Ooh, sorry now.
Oh,
Jesus
man.
Christ.
I'm kicking your
I'm
ass.
getting womped. Now, is the, by the way, Kenny, I have a question for you, Dr. Chen. Sorry to break things up. One of 3 things is happening. The focus is going in and out for some reason, or I'm having a stroke, or it's just this monitor.
It's toast, and I do. For the record.
Okay, I'm -6, you're +10, a slight lead.
Wow.
Let's continue.
Here we go.
Tweet number 5,
Still anyone's game. Tweet number 5.
technically.
Not really.
Yeah. Summer has finally hit LA, and I got a cold. What?
Adam. Demi.
That is correct!
God, this is a record.
This is an absolute stomping. Did you look at these?
This is pretty good. This is pretty good.
You've got.
I have never.
I'm just going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, what am I going to do with this 20? It's like per diem.
That is better than per diem because you won it.
Yeah.
You crushed it. Oh my God.
All right.
So the
Number
last
6.
3, 6, 7, and 8, last 3 are worth 10 points each.
All right.
Just so I have
you
any
sure?
chance whatsoever.
Okay.
Well,
And
seems
they have-
unfair to me, but here we go.
Well, he has a 21-point lead.
Well, I could have just made the last one worth 1,000,000 points.
Okay. All right. Okay. We'll stick with 5 for now.
Stick with 5 for now.
See if I can get one right.
Just one. Tweet number 6. Hope everyone tuned in to the new Tony Robbins show on NBC. It's amazing.
Kevin to me.
That's correct.
Oh, he got one.
Oof.
I thought for sure that was Tyra.
Good thing you didn't answer.
Wow. It seems like she and Tony Robbins would get along really well.
I just knew it wasn't Paris.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're
know how I
dealing
knew
with 15 against -1.
15 and -1. That is the current score.
This is very exciting. Here we go. Tweet number 7. Don't you hate it when your drink is too damn hot to sip, but you want it now? Burned tongue approaching.
Adam Tyra.
Correct.
4 for 4.
Damn.
This is unbelievable.
Did you rig this?
Unprecedented.
Is it unprecedented?
Unprecedented.
Really?
Utterly
Yes.
unprecedented.
Yes.
All right.
And Neil Patrick Harris was last week. He got 1 out of 5 correct.
Wow.
And wanted to kill someone, if not himself.
He was very
Wow.
upset. He was
Wow.
mostly furious at me, I think.
This does seem like something he would be good at.
Well, he was saying that he's involved in the running charades and all that on
Right.
a regular basis, and we actually talked about pressure from Matt Perry,
Right.
which he does not care for.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
20 to -1. This is the
The
last
8th and final tweet worth
30.
22?
22. It's anyone's
Worth
game.
22 points.
It's anyone's game.
This is a 22-point. Okay, well, Jesus, this might all be for nothing. Assholes. Seriously?
No, we can't do that.
How about...
Okay, no, let's do it. Let's do it.
No,
he's game.
Everything's on the table. Here.
It's all-
There it is. It's
here it
anyone's
is.
$20.
Wow, he really is game.
Yeah.
Adopted the cutest kitten and named her Munchkin.
You can still only lose 3 though if you get it incorrect.
That's right.
Yeah. I repeat,
You can still only lose 3.
No, I'm good.
You're giving me a chance?
Sure. Come on.
Kevin Paris.
Oh, there's a scoring change.
Oh!
There is a scoring change. It turns out that
minus how many?
several questions ago I should have deducted 5 instead of 3. So by a score of 20-19, why not?
Really, you guys really want to give me this $20 that bad?
Well, because you smoked me, my God.
that is
congratulations.
smoking.
I'll stir my water with
No,
it.
no.
That is a true
Congratulations.
smoking.
Wow, thank you very much.
There
You
go.
crushed me like a walnut. That was fantastic.
You're a
That was
winner and
fantastic.
grand champion as far as I'm concerned.
I'm going to handle this like Ed Asner.
5 out of... You were 4 for 4 is the bottom line.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not bad. I'm proud of myself for the first time in weeks.
It's been that kind of a week. Thank you,
Well
sir.
played.
Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you.
Even more Weller played.
Thanks, buddy.
Anytime. And that's how you play Tyra Paris. Or to me, who tweeted? I get that.
Who tweeted? There it is. We share
They tweet
one
'em, I read 'em,
thing in
'cause
common in
they
terms
all
of a
tweet.
work experience, and that is the apex, the mount from which the tablets are brought down from, the great world known as Scorsese.
Yes.
So you auditioned for him
yeah.
for The Aviator.
Yeah.
And how much time do you have to prepare, and do you overthink it looking back on it?
Man, did you audition?
It's not important.
Oh, God.
talking-
Really? Wow.
Well, my part's very small.
Well, mine's smaller.
Well, let's bring him out.
You're awesome in Casino.
Are we talking about movies?
Is he here? He's here.
Yeah. Anyways, You.
I went. I remember I went and auditioned for Jen Houston was one of the casting directors on it, and
How much time do you spend? How much time do you?
man, I spent a lot of time on it because
It's huge. It's everything.
everything,
Yeah.
everything.
Just as a fan alone.
as a fan alone, I mean, pictures of him on my wall as a teenager. As I said, I dressed like Spike Lee, so you can imagine how intensely into Martin Scorsese I was.
Raging Bull was a part of your life.
Good Lord, yes.
Yeah.
King of comedy.
Oh, buddy.
King of comedy.
Yeah.
That's the one for me. And New York, I love as well.
Really?
I love them all.
You
Yeah,
are a fan.
Yeah, I love New York.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
You're the first person I've ever said.
Really?
heard
You
say
know,
that.
I think there's a lot of cool stuff in that. Anyway. So yeah, I auditioned for her, just her with Jen Houston with a video camera, and then a few weeks later they said, you're too young for the part, but if you want to come in, he's going to be in town and read for these smaller, like a pilot or like a small, like 1 or 2 line part. And so I was like, of course, yeah, I was so excited. And so I started kind of preparing this little tiny scene. And then like 2 days before that audition, they called and said, actually, he wants to see you for that part.
So he'd seen you on tape?
Yeah, he had seen my audition. These are all details that no one needs to know. It's not interesting yet. But then I go actually to the audition with him.
I think the hoops you have to jump through in order
kind of interesting.
in order for a sitting with the king
Okay.
of all filmmaking.
Is somewhat interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. The
you
point of
finally-
that is that I had relaxed, that it was not going to be as high stakes. It's just still freaking out that I have an opportunity to be in a Scorsese movie. But then just a couple days before, they said, in fact, yes, this little bit bigger part that you had auditioned for originally, that's what you're going to do. So I had grown a mustache. I borrowed this vintage suit from my buddy Joey, and went in there just so out of my body nervous. I mean, just
Like now?
yeah, it's a lot like right now. Talk about bringing the tablets down from the mountain. So
You've got to be
Oh, my God.
visibly hovering.
insane.
Yeah.
And then it was reading with he and DiCaprio, and we read the scene a few times, and then that was it.
Leo is at your audition.
Yes.
That's got to be a good sign. Did you
I
kn-
guess. I think they were doing that for everybody that was auditioning, whose tape they had liked. I think it was for everyone.
Right.
So
You're playing his attorney, press agent.
his press agent, Johnny Meyer, who's a real guy.
Right.
So that happened. But then on my way home from that audition, I was finally like, God damn it, I'm glad that's over. I was so fucking nervous. My whole life led up to that moment.
Right.
And finally it was over. And I was just relieved, like, get it or not, I'm just glad it's over.
And did you feel you did well in the room?
I felt like something had happened where I had piqued his interest.
Right.
It seemed like he had responded and tried to throw stuff at me and see how I did. I think it was pretty apparent that I was nervous.
Sure, but the actor never can tell whether or not you're going to get the job. It's out of your hands. But the actor, I think, can always tell driving home,
Yeah.
unless they're just the wildly insecure type that never ever thinks they deserve anything.
Yeah.
But your normal thinking actor, if that's possible, there's a sense driving home where you go, I left it all on the floor. I left
Yeah.
it all there. I gave him everything I can.
Yeah.
It's out of my hands. Did you have that sort of sense?
I did.
Okay, well, that's
I
good.
did.
That's good. And then there's that sense of it's over now.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember calling my girlfriend, who's my wife now, saying, I kind of feel like it was good, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But then before I got home, the casting director called me and said, look.
Before you got home?
Before I got home, and said, look, you need to come back tomorrow. Marty wants you to watch The Barefoot Contessa. There's a character in there that's based on Johnny Meyer. He wants you to watch that and to get a sense of, not to mimic that performance at all, but to get a sense of the place of the character in the world. And can you do that? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, tomorrow. So then, I had to go back the next day.
To watch a movie?
Well, I had to watch the movie that night and then go in the next day and audition again.
Oh, boy.
With he and DiCaprio.
And even though they're saying they don't want an impersonation, you can't help but feel like there's a rhythm he's after, a cadence?
Not at that point. That came later after I got the part. But I had come up with a thing. I had come up with, I did this thing with my hair and then grew the mustache. And,
Right.
and I kind of come in with a thing
Like
that
a
was
40s?
yeah, like a 30s, 40s thing. Very rough. It was just something I came up with.
Sure.
You know.
And he gave you notes on that at the first audition.
Yeah.
You made some tweaks.
Yeah, and then watched that movie, which was helpful, just to kind of see where the character was in the showbiz world, where this guy was and what his
He's
job
the
was.
ultimate encyclopedia on all
man.
things film.
And
Every
this is an
film
obscure movie, too.
ever made.
Yeah.
Every nuance. It's
Incredible, right?
it's savant level without question.
Yeah, and it's so great how generous he is with stories about his movies. If you want them, he'll sit there and talk to you about Casino or Goodfellas or whatever.
Well, I said or indicated that I didn't have to audition, but I did have to have a sit down.
Uh-huh.
I had my agent said it's an offer, but you have to meet Bob. You mean Mr. De Niro? Yes, and you have to meet Marty.
Wow.
It's just a tradition that they do. If you're going to play any sort of pivotal part, they each want to sit with you for a couple of minutes.
Separately.
Separately.
Wow.
So I found with Scorsese what you're describing, which is he's an open book. And in
Yes.
fact, when I met with De Niro, I couldn't get a word out of him.
Really?
I just went to meet him at his, he was staying at a bungalow in Bel Air hotel. And I went and I was walked in, and I was shooting The Usual Suspects at the time. So I had this beard,
Right.
as close as I'm ever going to get to a badass.
But you were a badass in that movie.
Only because I was pretending. And so I said, I don't normally look like this because I know the guy in Casino's got to be super
Yeah.
clean.
Yeah.
And I actually brought an 8x10 with me to the sit
No,
down
you
with De
did
Niro.
not.
I absolutely did. And said, this is what I look like, hoping I could get a
Oh,
laugh.
I see. Okay.
Hoping I could get a laugh when he
Sure.
went, come on in, you want some? You want some? Anyways, I just wanted to, meet you, say hello, and he said that again 2 more times over the 9 minutes
Wow.
we sat in silence,
Wow.
and then I was released.
Literally silence, like you would sit there and not say
Yep.
anything, or you would try and fill.
No, I just knew this was mine to fuck up.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And in fact, I will speak when spoken to.
Smart.
And I had a sense of, if it's an offer, but I got to sit down, it's a technicality, so all I have to do is not be annoying.
Yes.
So even I thought the 8x10, I really had to sort of say, and by the way, he answers the door looking like Howard Hughes. He was before shooting, and the hair was grown out, and the beard was grown out. I didn't see nails.
Was it for a role?
No,
that he
I
was-
just saw a guy who really let it all go.
Interesting.
Right before he got into shape to look like Sam
Interesting.
Rothstein, which was, $1 million damn dollars.
Yeah.
So here, anyways, the Scorsese part, unfortunately, I took too long to get there. I said 3 words and he talked for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was fantastic.
It's so great.
It,
so
it
fun.
really is riveting.
My audition was at the Bel Air Hotel, both of them, actually.
It's apparently where they like to hang.
I guess that place is. I had never been there either, so that was intimidating because it's just ornate and beautiful and everything's perfect and.
And historical in a sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So the second time you go
So
back
then
in,
I go back in, and this
you've seen
time
the movie.
Yeah, and this time we're in a big room. It was just a couple chairs and a camera, instead of this small room where
Right.
DiCaprio and I just did a reading together,
And
sitting.
is Leo at this second time around?
Yes, he is.
And is there more of a sense that Martin is now directing you both?
Yeah.
Right.
Not only that, but it felt like a collaborative. It felt like it was more of we're workshopping rather than. I mean, it was an audition. They were
Right.
definitely, but it had the feel of the 3 of us working on these scenes together. Like they're still discovering
Right.
what it is. But he and I would be reading the dialogue, and Scorsese was like had the video camera. He took it off the tripod, and he was like dipping down and getting different angles on us and stuff. And I was just like, Jesus Christ! Like if I don't get this part, whatever. Look what's happening. This is really all I've ever wanted is that. To be in a situation where I'm like, working with
Actually playing and being creative with 2 of the best at what they do.
incredible. So that was.
Then we have to add in Kate Blanchett, who's also in.
Yeah.
I remember a big scene you were in with both of them.
Yeah, the 2 of them and Jude Law as
And
Errol
Jude Law,
Flynn.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, it was at the nightclub.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And so you've got the part. And as much
Yeah.
as that's supposed to fill you with confidence
Yeah.
when you show up to work,
Yeah.
and it's you and 3 from Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
What? Because I have great sense memory of feeling like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Someone's going to tap me on the shoulder and say, we've made a horrible error. So
Yeah.
I'm curious if that was at all going.
Absolutely. And because every single detail about working on a movie like that is every single person there is the best at what they do. There's no one else who's better than them.
Oh, God.
You know,
Right.
like
Bob Richardson
Bob
shot
Richardson.
it. Was a DP.
Yeah, Dante Ferretti they built the Coconut Grove in Montreal. They built Grauman's Chinese Theater in Montreal. Dante Ferretti. These are it's everything is beautiful. Like for your watch, it's not just here's your watch. Here's 3 watches
From a prop guy.
Yeah, no, it's Mr. Scott. Would you like to choose one of your vintage Rolexes, please? And they pull out there's 40 of them for you to. I mean,
From 1938.
yeah, as you know. Everything is gorgeous and perfect on these sets.
Yeah, my experience was that he knew exactly what he wanted in his composition, as if it were a graph, and
Yes.
every square was being filled meticulously.
Yeah.
And then within that composition, you as an actor were literally free to do whatever you wanted.
Whatever you want.
Is that was your experience as well?
Yeah.
It freaked me out.
Freaked the shit out of me. Because, seriously,
Yeah. His little bobbing head at the end of the table going, what do you think? Faster? Should I say slower? Should I be more upset? Less upset? What do you think?
I mean, at that point, the most major thing I had done is torque. So
Don't
so,
downplay.
No, but
Don't toss away things like that.
no, I know. Okay,
Ice Cube.
Let me try and find something that's less awesome than torque because that's a terrible example.
Is that the one
I'm
with
being
Dane
humble. Was that?
Is that the Dane Cook one, or is he in?
Yeah, he is in.
okay.
Dane Cook is in it. Actually, doing a screening of Torque tonight with Doug Benson, Paul Scheer, and Brian Posehn at Cinefamily. We're doing live commentary of Torque tonight.
Seriously?
Yes. Yes.
Where?
At Cinefamily on Hollywood Boulevard. Is that?
Oh,
yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh my God.
So I had
sounds
no
incredible.
business being being asked for my input in a scene with.
And
Martin
yet you
Scorsese.
were.
And yet I was. It was really incredible. And yeah, we would improvise, and some of that stuff is in the movie, and he would have us come up with extra stuff, and we come in the morning and pitch it to him, and he'd put some of it in and toss some. I mean, it was amazing.
It's easy for me to assume that those 3 pros, Kate Blanchett, Jude Law, and Leonardo DiCaprio, would treat you like an equal because they are pros.
Totally.
But I'm curious if they actually, if that
They
was your
really
experience.
did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was scared shitless, and they were too. That's the thing, is that
You mentioned he is surrounded by the best.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to be their best.
Oh.
They don't want to just be in a movie for
yeah.
them.
It was exhausting because not only were we did this, it took 3 days to shoot that scene that couldn't be more than 6 minutes long or whatever.
What a great luxury that is for you at that point.
But we also were all doing characters, we all had voices and special, we were all
Affectation.
really doing it up.
Right.
And so it was hard, and he's not a demanding person, but his presence is.
Right.
Him just being there, you want to be better than you've ever been,
Yeah.
and we all were, it was really it was exhilarating, but we were exhausted after that. And that for DiCaprio, that's how it was for 4 months,
Yeah. So from this dramatic work, you find yourself within a couple of years, as I insisted at the outset, with an opportunity anyways, you have to admit at least that, to be a scene stealer, because the character in Step Brothers is big.
Right.
He's not a subtle guy,
Right.
per se.
Right.
So was that an audition as well? Or
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, then all the more impressive to me, because it looked like a part you were born to play.
Oh, thanks.
And just in terms of, you either have comedic rhythms or you don't. You
Right.
either get the algorithm or you don't.
Right.
For a lot of them, it's a cadence. When a comedic actor gets to the height of a Will Ferrell or a Bill Murray,
Yeah.
they are able to develop their own cadence. But when
Yeah.
you're asked to come in and ultimately be in support,
Yeah.
how long of a process is it before you land the part in that, and then how much freedom is going on that set? Because your part especially, not just the scene in the car where you're singing with the family. What the fuck's the name of that song?
Sweet Child of Mine.
Oh my God. That's clearly choreographed.
Yes.
But so much of what you're doing in the movie seems utterly choreographed. So let's talk about the freedom on that movie.
Yeah, a lot of freedom. And, like I said, not really coming from the comedy world or not having been in it yet, really, aside from, little things here and there. Coming into that and being asked to improvise every day. I mean, we do a scripted take or two, and then it's just a free-for-all.
Right.
A structured free-for-all. I mean, we follow the structure of the scene, but just fuck around.
Don't change the context or the purpose of the scene.
Yeah.
But other than that, do it.
But if you do, that's okay too.
Holy shit.
The great thing I learned on that, first of all, just being thrown into that, I immediately felt like I was deficient, and I wished I had been going to UCB for 5 years before getting there. I felt like I was learning how to pole vault at the Olympics.
Well, not just pole vault at the Olympics, it's you and only gold medal winners.
Exactly.
Because certainly in the case of the two leads, John C. Reilly
Yeah.
and Will Ferrell, showing some chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah.
Was that after Talladega Nights or
Yes,
before?
it was after, yeah.
So they had already won the gold medals
Yeah.
together as a team.
Yeah.
And this was another go-around.
Yeah.
Where I don't know how you just don't get thrown to the wolves.
Yeah.
Because although they're both unbelievable, I know.
They're super cool.
Yeah.
John and Will and McKay.
Yeah.
They're the very sweet, mellow guys. There was never even a moment where on that set, and Catherine Hahn, who played my wife,
Right.
we were kind of in the same boat. We were just like, whoa, how do we get this gig? This is amazing, and kind of getting to know these guys. And there wasn't a moment where we felt like we weren't totally welcome, and whatever we said was completely welcome, and you could do whatever you wanted in the scene. Just give it a shot, and that's what I took away from that. That I never want to go back to working the way I did before.
Right.
And whether it's improvisation or not, just the sense that try whatever. If it's not good, then just don't use it. But just give it a shot. See what sticks. Like, just don't be precious about anything, because that's what those guys do. Is they do. I mean, they have the luxury and the time to do so, but they try everything and then just cut together. Just find the form in the midst of all that,
Right.
and cut together the movie they want. But they try everything, and it's really exhilarating. But there isn't a day on that set that's where you're just relaxed. Like if in the script, if it says he walks into the store, that could turn into half a day of fucking around and McKay coming up with stuff, and those guys coming up with stuff. So it was a terrifying process at first, and I feel like by the end I was finally starting to get the hang of it, and then it ended.
Yeah.
But
well, you were given this opportunity, but within that opportunity, there had to have been a sense of, I have to blow everyone's mind every day.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's a wasted opportunity.
yeah, and I.
And how long was, I mentioned the Sweet Child of Mine must have been choreographed. How long did you guys get to shoot that and rehearse that? And
We spent the entire shoot kind of going back to it and rehearsing it and going into recording studios and trying to record different versions of it. And very quickly they realized I can't sing. So even though I went to all the recording sessions and was there, and there were many different versions, they had a ringer for me pretty quick. So everyone else in that car is singing live. That is not lip syncing, but I am lip syncing to a guy that was right outside the windshield, singing into a microphone, and I was just locking eyes with him and following his every move so I could
Holy
lip
shit.
sync him exactly. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
yeah, it was really fun. But
Did you have any idea that it would become a YouTube sensation?
no, have you seen all the other people's versions?
Well, you guys doing it
Yeah.
has over 4 million hits.
yeah,
The clip from the movie.
yeah,
And then coming up with 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 hits of their own are so-called non-professionals.
Yeah.
That is to say, not famous actors.
yeah.
For the live viewers only, we're going to offer up what I thought was the best of the YouTube wannabes.
Oh, excellent.
And this is a special treat for the live viewers because we'll never clear the song when it goes onto iTunes or wherever else the show lives hereafter. Here are some fans, one of many. If you go to YouTube and just actually dial in Sweet Child of Mine, you will find the original clip from the film that Adam did, which is, oh God, it's one of the all-time greats, and that is why there are 1,700 versions put together by fans. So let's take a look at this version by fans and enjoy every sweet minute and a half of it. Clip! Right, that would have been good to have here if we had the... Couldn't clear it. Check
That's
those
awesome.
guys out.
That's so good.
How about that?
I hadn't seen that one. I'd seen a bunch, but I hadn't seen that one. He lip synced like the dialogue perfectly.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was so good.
The great thing about that, and definitely go to YouTube and check out all the other ones. There's a whole lot of people that are offering up their version, and what a ridiculous sort of byproduct after thing, to happen from something that you guys had a ridiculous amount of fun on, clearly, but these type of instant tributes couldn't possibly have factored into anyone's mind.
I mean, it's incredible and obviously really flattering.
It says it all, yeah.
But I just think the movie is so weird, and I think that those guys make such subversive, cool.
Yes, that's what they're good at.
It's so weird. It's like, it's Dada-esque almost how bizarre that movie is. It's so absurd.
Jamie, what is your favorite line from? They're talking about the bunk beds and they need more room.
Activities.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, activities.
So we can do activities.
Yeah, the enthusiasm.
I was laughing because somebody just tweeted you, "Hey, I'm one of the 2 people who has actually watched Indian Summer."
Oh,
That's why I was laughing.
Yeah, she can't get enough when they bust my balls in the chat room. There's no greater joy for her in life.
Who else is in Indian Summer? Amy Brenneman?
Here, we can play my game. Paxton, Pullman, Bridges, or Daniels?
Paxton.
It's Paxton.
Nicely
Paxton.
done.
Yeah.
That's my other
Alan Arkin.
Alan Arkin.
Diane Lane.
Can you give me some Arkin right now?
I don't understand what you're saying. Why would you say that?
All right.
Do I need that kind of pressure? Like I'm some sort of trained SEAL. You mention it, and I go for the fish.
Oh, it's so good. By the way, I did say Dada-esque.
You did.
Earlier,
I tried to take the pressure
thank you.
away.
Thank you
that was really, I had very little interest.
What a shithead. Good Lord. How many things am I going to regret from this interview?
I want to take it out to the audience here at Baffled Boston. Has anyone tried to take, then they list your Twitter name, which is at APScott89. Has anyone tried to take AP at APScott89 up on his very public Piranha 3D satisfaction guarantee?
Oh, yes.
You did, and it was quoted repeatedly after you tweeted. Well, first of all, the 82 on the Rotten Tomatoes, based on that rating alone, I don't blame you for having a little fun with the Twitter audience and guaranteeing satisfaction.
Yes.
They backed your play.
Yes.
It's not like you're going out on a limb alone.
Right.
And then you offered if they didn't like it, you would come to their home and act out scenes. They had to provide the fish and the shotgun?
Yeah, but then I believe I also wrote up a bit of a writer that was published elsewhere of other things they would need to provide me.
Okay.
But I'll do it.
Yeah.
If someone feels like they did, whether they like the movie or not, if they feel like they did not get their money's worth after seeing Piranha 3D, I will go to their house. I will act out my scenes as long as you provide all of the things I've listed.
Right.
I will choose one and I'll do it. I think that you're crazy, but if you really feel like you didn't get your money's worth.
But there's a lot of crazies out there, and there's also a lot of dickheads that just want you to come over.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Not to say, kidding aside, but there's one dramatic turn that you made quite recently, and in fact received the 2010 Independent Spirit Award nomination for, which I understand from your dossier completely came out of the blue in terms of being nominated for this little tiny movie that I don't know much about myself. I do know just from reading about this You must be unbelievably proud of how it turned out, and I am actually dying to see it. Did it have much of a release, if any?
Not really. I mean, when it got the nominations, I got one, and then the writer-director got one for screenplay.
It's called The Vicious Kind. Forgive me, Lee Tollin Krieger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it hadn't been released. I mean, it went to Sundance and some other festivals, but no, it didn't. It didn't get released, and it never actually got an official. I mean, it played in New York and L.A.
Right.
But
that was it.
That was it. So we were. But at the time it got the nominations, no one had seen it. It just played at Sundance, and that's it. So we were totally thrown when it got nominated, but pleasantly.
Oh, and you personally nominated for Best Actor.
Right.
For Independent Spirit Award.
Right.
That's heady stuff.
It was very heady. It
Yeah.
was very heady, not expected.
And you carry this film. You're the number one on the call sheet, as we like to say in the business.
Yes.
And a very intense, serious, dramatic turn.
Yes.
A great experience?
It was a great experience. I mean, it was actually a nice lesson that, because it's not like I did that movie ever thinking it. I'd been around the block enough times to know that when you do these little indies, most of the time, 4 years later, they're on IFC at 3 a.m, and that's it.
Right.
Maybe not even on DVD.
And yet, an opportunity to do your best work.
Yeah, and so I just was doing it for me, and because Lee, whom I didn't know at the time, just seemed like a cool guy, and he wrote this cool script. So we were just doing it and just having a blast, not thinking about who's going to see it and stuff, because we kind of thought maybe no one would. So it was kind of a nice lesson, that along with kind of Party Down, just doing it with my friends on Stars, not thinking this will probably ever go anywhere. We don't even know what this is yet, just kind of doing it and having fun.
Right.
And those are the things that ended up kind of being meaningful to me, and then as a byproduct of that, and a total surprise, meaningful to my career.
Right.
Which I never anticipated. So it was a nice kind of lesson about trying to do things that I feel like I can actually add something to, and they're kind of special.
And in the midst of all this dramatic work, you get plucked to be a regular in Parks and Recreation.
Yes.
So 2009, not a bad year.
Yeah.
Applaud on that one, by the way.
Definitely
That was
applause.
Probably their best, so far, their best casting move right there.
Come on.
No, I'm dead serious.
That's nice.
You're officially going on. First of all, we're at the 2-hour mark, and I'm sorry for eating
Really?
sorry for eating up the first 20 minutes of that with the opening part of the show.
I was entertained.
But I want to make sure that the audience there knows that I'm going on the record to say you are on the KPCS Top 10 to Watch in 2011.
Wow.
You've been the first one we've put on the list.
Oh, wow.
And by we, I mean me just now.
Wow.
So if it's top 10, can't he be one and we'll just keep adding?
Right
as
now
we
he's
add
number
people?
one.
You're number one.
Yeah,
Number
right now
one.
he's
Number
number
one.
one
So now
on the top 10
now
list.
all we need are 9 people.
I'll get him. I'll find him. Dr. Chen is number 8 right now.
Excellent. All right.
No, but seriously, unbelievably thrilled. And next up for you is my idiot brother with Rudd, Zoe Deschanel, Rashida Jones, Elizabeth Banks, and Emily Mortimer. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
You're shooting this in New York.
Yeah, just finished.
Oh, you just finished?
Yes.
Oh, and so that will you'll have to come back and tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
right.
I'm here.
Can't thank you enough, honestly.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I apologize to some who might not have got to, but I had no idea that we would have this amount of fun so quickly, and $20. I'm just saying it happened.
$20. I got
on a
paid.
crushing, by the way.
Damn.
The worst outing for me, I think, in '61.
In the game's history.
Yeah.
I really did well.
You did
In this
very,
game.
very well.
Which means it can only go downhill in the closing moments with the Larry King game.
Oh, God damn it. Okay.
Yeah.
I am not an impersonator.
Well, no, you forgot rule number one.
What's
Rule number one of the Larry King game is that you must do a bad Larry King impression.
Okay, here we go.
You have to do a bad one. There's your camera.
Okay.
When you're ready.
This pastrami I'm eating is as delicious as Mariette Hartley's pussy in '86. Watsonville, California.
2 key factors for me in the victory dance. The year He remembered the year,
Yeah.
1986.
Yeah.
The specifics always put me away.
Yeah.
And Watsonville, I love.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Watsonville. Excellent.
Yeah. Is that the artichoke capital? What's Watsonville? Watsonville is some...
It's near Gilroy, the artichoke capital of the world.
What it is. That's what I'm thinking. Can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Honest to God.
Oh, excellent. To God.
The Vicious Kind is the one you've got to see. I'm guessing it's all over the Netflix.
It's on Instant View on Netflix, so
There you
it's
go.
pretty easy.
Wow. The Vicious Kind. Let's all do a report on that if we can. Sit there uncomfortably as I wrap things up, if you don't mind, and then we'll get you on out of here. Yeah, that's beautiful.
That is as
If we could just
uncomfortable
have
as
a
I've seen
shot
a
of
guest
that, that's as uncomfortable as the guest has been thus far.
Okay.
He's winning on 3 different levels. Thank you all very much. Next week will be Steven Weber, whose work we've enjoyed for many, many years.
Asshole.
He's 102. Now, you said that because you were uncomfortable, right?
Yep.
All right, and we have check out the calendar. We've locked up some pretty cool people that we've booked now in the next couple of months. So they're under the show schedule. You will find upcoming guests during the last 2 hours and some minutes. I have to wonder what my crew has been up to, because they've had so much time to. Well, let's take a look. Well, it's awfully sunny.
Oh, yeah.
Do you mind? Thank you.
Oh, this
Get it on there good too. This is my first time
Looks like
out
they're having
all
a good
summer.
time.
really uncomfortable.
Oh man, dude, this is so wrong.
Oh.
So right.
Oh,
Shave your back.
a little bit.
Get up behind the ears.
Wow. Wow.
It's about commitment.
Oh my! I think
That's all I ask from my crew is commitment.
oddly enough, I think Emily is the big loser. In
And
that.
no, I feel as
Negrin
though.
absolutely wrote that one. Absolutely.
Who did?
Negrin, I would bet
Dollars to
everything
donuts?
I owned that Negrin wrote that.
It's all about commitment. It's all I've ever asked from everyone who works on this show. And the commitment, I'm going to say, from all three, but perhaps the most to J-Mac in that particular scene, for going the course and staying the course. Thank you all so much for all your support. Please stay tuned on the thisweekend.com network to This Week in Comedy, followed by This Week in Movies. And until next week and the weeks to come, as always, get out of my face.